experience. Well, I think every match is different. So some of it you're going to do by on the job. I mean, you're going to get thrown in the fire, if you will, in a positive way. I don't want to sound negative. So I think you can't train for everything because you don't know the person until you get to know them. How you react and how you help them can make a big difference in their lives and their family.
To when a topic comes up that makes them uncomfortable, talk about it, and if they don't know how to talk about it yet, talk to me about it or talk to other people in the office about it and figure out how to approach the situation.
A lot of the kids in the program are dealing with things much more serious at home than I've ever had to deal with, so I never want to come out and react quickly or come across that I'm going to yell or be either with words or physically, so I always take that beat to center myself and take that deep breath before I say something to make sure that I handle it in the best possible way.
And I did have that one time situation way back. The kid was just being a brat. And I said, you know what? If you aren't going to listen and behave and we're not going to do this, then we're going to just go home and we'll try again another day. And I did that. I took him home. I told his mom, I said, you know, he's just not being a nice kid right now. And so I don't think it's good for us to continue to do that. So he went home. He didn't like that. So the next time, he was really good. I said, you know, so sometimes you have to, as a big boy or girl, you have to draw the line, say, this is my expectation. If you can't do it, then let's go home and we'll do another date another time because it ain't working today. Got to know when it's, okay, that's enough. Okay, you know, and you need to settle down or we're going to go home and end this right now.
If my little sister swore at me or called me a bad name, I would probably stop whatever we were doing and just take a beat, pause, collect my thoughts. My experience was if I stayed calm, it was a lot easier to address issues. This didn't personally happen to me. She did swear at someone else. Just take the moment, pull ourselves out of the moment we're in, and I'd go to a different room or a different place if it were out in public. And I just have a very firm response but after the situation was de-escalated and just said, you cannot speak to me that way. I don't tolerate swearing and you need to be respectful if you want me to be respectful to you. And I'd leave it at that.
One time when Raven was pretty upset and maybe your emotions got a little out of hand and Raven told me she hated me. After she told me that, I said, I'm going to let you calm down a bit. I'm not going to push this anymore because I had dropped her off at home. It wasn't when we were hanging out. Dropped her off at home. She told me that. Said, I'm leaving. If you want to call me later and elaborate on this, apologize, X, Y, or Z, you let me know, but I'm leaving. I'm not going to feed into this anymore. And so I left later that night. She called me crying and apologized for the situation. So yes, there are difficult times, but there are also not difficult times. There's good times too, so.
Asks you about your past, I think you should be honest. You need to keep it in context to the age and the background of the little. If my little asked me about my experiences with drugs or alcohol, in our case, I usually brought that up in conversation before my little brought it up to me. Usually it was in just small ways. If we were watching a show that talked about drinking, for me, drinking was a big trigger, knowing that her father had alcohol problems. I would make a reference to that, and I just let it sit there and let her think about it. And that usually was enough to prompt her to ask questions back. I was always honest about my use with drugs and alcohol. It wasn't going to do her any good for me to whitewash my background. It's probably fortunate I wasn't a very adventurous kid myself. So I think if you're comfortable telling anyone the truth, that's who I would tell it to. If you're not really willing to share that with anyone, then you wouldn't share it there either. But it's definitely, that's one of the places where the mentoring pays off. You can go, this is what I did, and boy, was that stupid. Or I did this, but I learned it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. It's all fine now. Or any variation on that. Obviously you don't romanticize things that are illegal.